Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dal. Legion Remix just got its own brand new phase content update of Legion Fall dropping as of this week. We're getting the Zone of Broken Shore finally available for us to explore, which features new quests as well as world quests, a bunch of new events for you to compete in, a lot of new rares that are going to be showing up all throughout the island, as well as even new world bosses with a brand new faction that you can now start working on and collect some of the rewards for the faction specifically. On that zone, we also get the new Cathedral of Eternal Light dungeon, as well as the Raid of Tumor Sigeris, both of which, as well as the new zone, are going to be integral for you to earn new upgrades, new rewards, but also additional knowledge in order to grow your character even more powerful. With it, we also get a bunch of new cosmetic items that you can purchase on the vendors, from new mounts, transmog sets that you can finally complete some of your favorite collections, as well as toys and pets if you are looking to add those things to your collections as well. We also recently did receive a bunch of artifact weapon ability changes over in the Legion Remix, so if you're someone who's just coming back for this brand new phase of content and you want to keep up with what the strongest weapon abilities are going to be for your class, I am going to go over exactly what happened with some of those buffs recently, just to make sure that all of you are still left in the loop. But with that being said, as always, if you guys want to keep up with regular updates when it comes to Legion Remix or other content, be it War Within or Midnight Beta, which is happening really soon, be sure to follow the channel and subscribe. But otherwise, let's dive right in. So today we got a brand new phase of Legion Remix, with this one being called Legion Fall. And part of the Legion Fall update is going to be the new zone, or I guess the old zone of Legion, the Broken Shore, which we previously didn't have access to, but this, like, this empty spot that's meant to be filled with something, that zone is finally unlocked. The Broken Shore is finally made available. The place where we initially met Legion, where both Alliance and Horde were beaten back, and we watched Varian and Vol'jin, two absolute legends of either faction, fall in combat, where a lot of players swore revenge upon Legion that same very day. And that was, I think, a moment where that really gripped a lot of people into this expansion initially. We finally get to strike back, and this zone is filled with content. Like, you'll have plenty of world quests, you have plenty of different activities, a bunch of rares, a ton of new events within that zone specifically, as well as new vendors for you to interact with as well. So you talk about daily quests, story quest lines as well, which has its own set of story quests specifically for classes, where the quest line itself are not that different, but it does award class mounts at the end of it. And of course, there's also going to be the new Renowned, which right now is available with the Armies of Legion Fall, which unfortunately has been live for many players, but no one can complete it just because the content isn't live at all. So yeah, that'll be also added to the rotation, but also yet another faction for you to work through your way. World bosses within the area specifically, as well as potentially, many players are wondering if the Mage Tower is going to have some new content there as well. Previously, Blizz did say that we're not going to be able to earn any new artifact appearances through the Mage Tower during Legion Remix. However, during PTR, we never got to properly test the Mage Tower content whatsoever. It does make me wonder if they potentially adjusted it so it's more difficult. Maybe they snuck in some secret rewards to it, which is probably copium, but you know what? I can still dream. But I am still kind of, slightly hoping that maybe snuck in some really cool reward for players that do jump into it. Maybe it'll be very, very challenging at the same time. But if anything, it's maybe an opportunity, very much maybe, because maybe it's not even functional, but maybe it's an opportunity for you to collect some of those time warp versions of Tumor Sigeris armor sets. But we also have the new dungeon of Cathedral of Eternal Night. I actually had a really good experience with that dungeon, but apparently talking to some of my friends, when it first initially released, and I wasn't really into Mythic Plus during the early parts of Legion, apparently when it first came out, it was incredibly difficult, but then they nerfed it down, so it became very, very good. I just remember having a lot of fun with that place specifically. I like the environment as well as a lot of the boss fights. There's going to be yet another instance for you to add into your Mythic Plus dungeon rotation. And of course, we have the Tomb of Sigeris, a fairly massive raid with a ton of different bosses for you to encounter. This is also going to be yet another instance where completing the entire thing and defeating the final boss does unlock you additional knowledge, but it's only yet another instance that will allow you to get and farm more infinite power in your daily rotation so you can grow your character ever stronger. Plus, get all the achievements for defeating Kil'jaeden at the very tail end, and unlock some of the unique rewards from this instance, like the weapon from Maiden of Vigilance. You'll be able to earn this one through bronze specifically, and it's on one of the vendors. It will take you a couple attempts to slay the boss before you can start earning this item and unlock the appearance, but it's going to be yet another item for you to be able to obtain. Speaking of obtaining new items, you also will be able to bolster your mount, transmog, pet, and toy collection with this update as well, as we got some new items that are finally purchasable for bronze on the vendors. Taking a look at the mount vendor from the Emotes nesting area, we actually have a number of mounts that are becoming available during Legion Fall, specifically from the High Mountain Elderhorn to a Cloudwing Hippogriff, which are all part of the Legion Fall update. We have the Valajar Stormwing, which I'm a huge fan of the outline that they have for these drakes. See if you never got one from like the islands or BFA, that's an opportunity for you to pick one up as well. They got the Laywoven Flying Carpet as well, Wild Dream Runner, as well as the Abyss Worm, which is part of the raid, but you could just also purchase it for bronze as well. Over in the World Apparel and Transmogrifier, we also have even more Legion Fall items, which are the dungeon sets for the Cathedral of Eternal Night. A lot of these pieces you actually would have collected just by leveling your character, but if you still are looking for a few more to finish up to your collection, like some of the different recolors that are available, that'll be yet another opportunity for you to finalize some of those sets. There's also an extra variation of them, the purple ones from the dungeon apparel for the purple cloth. We got the purple leather, purple mail, as well as the purple variation of the plate set. Since we're going into Tomb of Sargeras, we'll also be able to start to get the Legion Fall Sargeras armor sets, which look absolutely amazing from the priest set. You have the mage set, which I like this yellow recolor of, specifically the Demon Hunter set, which looks super good. The Warlock set, which also has those wings whenever you jump up as part of the helm, which is fantastic. They have the Monk set, the Druid set, which used to be not my favorite, the Hunter set, which is great, the Rogue set, which is just absolutely one of the best out there, the Death Knight set, which is just a classic, Shaman Sky Fury version, the Warrior Green Titan Onslaught, as well as the Paladin Lightbringer armor set. The Discount Cloak Dealer actually also has a couple of them. It's one of the NPCs that is hidden in the back of the actual bazaar area. But you have the Ensemble of the Drapes of Devouring Night, which gives you a variety of variations, I guess, of some of the dungeon cloaks. And you also have a couple of pets and toys that you might be able to pick up, like scraps, for instance. We have the Ageless Bronze Drake pet, the Orphaned Fellbat, as well as things like a Bronze Proto-Whelp. Sierra's Extra Cloak toy is also really cool. This one lets you take the appearance of a Warden that you can... Previously, I think you had to get it through a reputation with that faction, but you just purchase it with bronze. Definitely one of the best toys to pick up. As well as a Pilfered Sweeper toy, which you could also unlock during the Legion Fall update. Also, as you're diving into this brand new update for Legion Remix, you should be aware that recently in a hotfix, they did end up buffing a variety of different artifact abilities for many different classes out there. This was a recent hotfix, so most of you probably did not notice it and probably flew under the radar, but it could have potentially have some actual implications as to which artifact weapon ability you will be running for this update. So the abilities that did get adjusted were essentially there was like a small update for all of them except for one. For Call of the Forest ability, the actual main ability will now grant you, and it's already hotfixed in the game, it has been hotfixed to grant you even more attack speed and casting speed anytime you use it, which is actually quite good for many different classes out there. Waking Frenzy is also a buff that has been extended to a 20-second duration, up from 15, so there's a pretty good chance you'll be able to maintain it pretty much at all times. And the final trait of Dream Weaving that gives you huge cooldown reduction aspects for your classes is going to last for 12 seconds in duration. So this actually ends up being a pretty good bonus with Call of the Forest and the final trait, especially if you're looking for group gameplay. The Twisted Crusade playstyle did not get any changes. It is perfect. It doesn't need any adjustments whatsoever. Blizzard is not willing to nerf Twisted Crusade and will likely still be good as long as that spike ability hits as hard as it does and those demons are as effective as they are. But yeah, Twisted Crusade did not get any adjustments because it really didn't need any at all. What did get adjustments was Naravan's Disc, the ability where you keep catching the disc every time you throw it. They buffed the damage of this ability and they also allowed it to now bounce up to 5 times. So you can catch the disc and launch it 5 times, increasing its damage by 60% for each and every throw. So actually the scaling potential of this ability from the baseline to the final throw actually has a pretty big potential, and with a minute cooldown for some classes, this could actually be one of your burst your abilities as more enemies gain additional health with this update. You also have the final trait of Arcane Inspiration, and the haze buff provided for this one is actually being increased to 16 seconds, so this also has some group capabilities as well. The Trader Tempest Wrath really needed a buff for a while now, and now it actually deals a ton of extra damage. Buffs the damage by 33% baseline, it deals damage over 12 seconds, so it lasts a lot longer, and it also gains additional damage by 8% for every single enemy that it hits. So everything got buffed up, from the actual damage, the duration, but also its amplification bonus for every single target around you. Also, the trait of Thunderstruck that grants you haste for every single stack of Growing Tempest. This also has been buffed up to have a 20-second duration, so now this buff can last a lot longer, buffed up to 20 seconds that continues even after the Tempest Wrath ability ends. And for those of you that are more healer-oriented in Mythic Plus groups, since healers are finally viable, do indicate his Judgment got significant buffs as well. The base ability, Lightforge buff specifically, now lasts for 24 seconds, and the ability itself will deal and heal for 12 seconds within the area, which allows it to stick around a little bit longer. But that Lightforge buff in particular is important because it simply just amps up every other trait within that Lightforge tree all the way through. Aside of this, the Fight of Valkyr buff that gives you Blessing in order to guard your allies from death. This one now lasts for 12 seconds, so the big cheat death mechanic that can be used in Mythic Plus content cannot be used even more consistently when it comes to bypassing certain mechanics and basically making them immune. But with that being said, as always, I do want to thank all of you guys so much for watching, and hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did enjoy it or found it informative, go ahead and give this video a like, as it would very much appreciate it. Also, be sure to join our Discord community, especially if you want to keep up with new Legion Remix updates, anything new for War Within, like the patch 11.2.7, or possibly Midnight Beta, which is happening in about a week from today. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and as always, I'll see all of you guys in the next one.